So, I currently coach 10 traders who each earn over £2 million a year. Now, that puts them in the top 0.01% of traders worldwide. And after coaching them for years, I can tell you something that they all follow the same 15 laws. Some are exactly what you'd expect, and a few will genuinely surprise you. So, in this video, I'm going to break down all 15 laws so you can just copy them and make serious improvements in your own trading. Let's get into it. You know the stat that all of my multi-seven-figure traders obsess over? It's their top 20 trades of the year and how much they made from all of them. They break each one down. How many ticks did they take? What was their sizing like? What did other traders do with the same spot? Why? Because, and this is particularly true for news traders, your top 20 trades will make or break your year. Perform well on them and you'll have a great year. Miss them or undersize them and it's a year killer. So how do you copy this? Start by journaling every big trade. What were you thinking at the time? How did you perform? What do you wish you'd done differently? How could you have prepared better? What was your sizing like? Were you fast enough? Did you hold too long? Brutally breaking down these spots and hunting for your own mistakes can be painful in the short run. But if you only take one thing from this entire video, take this one. For many, it's where the biggest P&L gains are hiding. There comes a point in every trader's career when the amount you've lost in a day compromises your ability to make good decisions. Full stop. I've personally seen 2 or 3 wipeout events with clients. Guys losing all or nearly all of the money in their accounts. I'm talking large 6-figure amounts. Every single time it's happened because they were so deep in the red that clear thinking had gone out the window. The only protection to this is a hard stop loss. An amount where if you're down that much in a day or a trade, you cut it no matter what and walk away. Yes, you might leave money on the table and you might have turned it around, but you're in a spot where the downside is potentially account destroying and the upside relative to that is negligible. That's not a trade anyone thinking clearly would take. The truth is that virtually all top traders I work with have a stop loss, and it actually makes them more fearless. They can attack their trades because they know the downside is capped at a level that won't be disastrous. So limit your exposure, live to fight another day, and come back level-headed. Overtrading is like a wildfire. If you don't catch it early, it spreads. You start justifying it. And a lot of the time, it's not even tilt. It could be boredom. You want to make something happen, and waiting for your next real setup feels like hard work. The best traders protect themselves. They protect themselves from leaking money in quiet markets by planning for them. They keep a list of projects, new edges to backtest, research to read, reviews to do, all the work that's nearly impossible to get done when the market is really busy. Think of it like a pro athlete. They have the season where they compete, and then there's the off-season where they recover, train, and come back stronger. The top 0.01% see quiet markets not as boring, but as the off-season. It's an opportunity to level up, so that when the next big theme hits, they're already ahead of everyone who spends that time overtrading out of boredom. The average person gets around 120 phone notifications a day. That's one every 5 minutes in a 10-hour day. The research shows that once you're distracted, it takes roughly half an hour to get back to fully focused. So let's just do the maths on that. Most traders spend their entire day distracted. The top performers, and this goes way beyond trading, live quiet lives. Notifications off, some use dumb phones, many keep their phone switched off and in another room entirely. So here are 5 things that will improve your focus today. Caffeine. If it doesn't agree with you, skip it, but for most people, it sharpens focus. Second, hydrate. Mild dehydration can slow reaction speeds by 12 to 18%. This is a massively underrated performance hack for trading. Start the day by drinking a pint of water. 3, phone off and out of sight. Not on silent, off and in another room. Even having a phone in your pocket or in sight when it's turned off becomes a distractor because of how we're conditioned to check it frequently. 4, have a mental game warm-up which you do twice a day. A meditation, a guided hypnosis, or simply closing your eyes for 2 to 4 minutes and visualize what trading at your best looks like and feels like. 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. Lastly, use noise-cancelling headphones. Cuts background noise, and if you're in a shared office, it signals you're plugged in and you'll get disturbed way less. So those first 4 laws protect your P&L. The next 5 are about something the top 0.01% do better than everyone else. They learn faster. How fast do you actually learn from your mistakes? Most traders make one and think, that wasn't good, I'll try not to do that again. The problem with this method is you learn painfully slowly and often repeat the same mistakes over and over before the lesson finally sticks. The best traders are systematic. They save the most important learnings, review them constantly, and know exactly how to access them. I had a client who hit a brutal market environment a few years ago. Everyone in his office was finding it tough. But he was prepared because 8 years earlier, he traded similar market conditions. So he went back, he pulled up his 2012 notes, and he made £80,000 in a week that most of his colleagues were happy just to break even in. The skill wasn't in that week's trading. That 80k came from the seeds planted years earlier that had finally borne fruit. That's the power of writing things down. The top performers in the world are high in a trait psychologists call openness. It's open to new ideas, new experiences, and most importantly, open to finding new ways of creating an edge. I remember one of the first multimillionaires I'd ever coached. A couple of days after our first session, he sent me an update. He'd subscribed to a podcast, bought a book, taken action on several things that I'd mentioned, not even asked him to do on the call. When I asked him about it, he said, rather than judging ideas before trying them, he'd just say yes to everything, test it, keep what works, and drop the rest. If the book improves his performance by 1%, great. If not, he spends a few hours reading, then moves on. Tiny downside, huge potential upside. That constant hunt for 1% edges is what produces exceptional results. The traders who do well but never reach elite levels are the ones who keep doing what they've always done, because it worked well enough so far. But good enough is the enemy of being exceptional. Here's the truth. If you copy other traders, you can never have exceptional results. Trading's just never worked that way. As you gain experience, you start forming stronger opinions based on that experience. To get exceptional results, it's not enough to move with the herd. The top 0.01% aren't afraid of taking contrarian positions, and they're not afraid of being wrong either. Listen to other opinions, sure, but relying on them becomes a crutch that stunts your own development as a trader. When it comes down to it, if you truly believe in a trade, it's better to run with it and be proved wrong than to get talked out of it and never gain a reference experience. This one follows straight from the last point. I had a client who did a mountain of work on a setup. He backtested it every which way, he knew it inside out, and he knew a big opportunity was on the horizon. He told one of his mentors about it, a very senior trader with a ton of experience. A day or two later, the trade played out exactly as my client predicted, and he'd one of the biggest days of his career. The senior trader traded it too. But here's the thing. Even with the trading count probably 10 or 20 times bigger, he made a fraction of what my client made. Why? He hadn't done the work, so he didn't have the conviction. And he didn't make a mistake either. With his lower conviction, small size was the sensible play in his mind. But here's the thing, you can't borrow conviction. You have to earn it. When you've done the work, you understand the trade, you feel confident. And when the moment comes, you can put on real size and go for it. Conviction is like building a house. The only way to do it is brick by brick. Don't fall for shiny object syndrome. I had a client who watched friends of his making crazy money in crypto. He was seriously tempted to jump ship, even though that just wasn't his bread and butter. In the end, he thought about it long and hard, but he decided to stay the course. And since then, he's gone from strength to strength, probably earning 8 or 10 times as much as he was just a few years ago, back when he thought about swapping to crypto. Could he have succeeded with crypto? Nobody knows. What he did know was that he was already making good money in his lane. If he kept pushing size, working on his mindsets, the results would only compound. And he was right. When something is working, the elite move isn't to diversify, it's to double down. Now, these last 6 laws aren't even really about trading at all. They are about how the 0.01% live. If you dream of having results like my elite clients get, I'm going to be honest with you. A 40-hour work week is not going to cut it. Think of it as a compounding game. Trader A works 50 hours a week. Trader B works 60 hours a week. Both start out making £100 an hour. So trader B earns 20% more, right? It's not a huge deal on its own. But let's say because of that extra edge, trader B can grow his sizing 20% faster every year. Run that forward to 3 years. Trader A is making now £850 an hour. Not bad. But trader B is making £1,550 an hour. That extra 10 hours a week didn't add up to 20%. It roughly doubled his earnings in 3 years. That's what the top 0.01% understand about hard work. It doesn't add, it compounds. When people find out I coach 6- and 7-figure traders for a living, they usually ask about the partying. It's an understandable misconception. People who watch Wall Street or industry and picture traders as hyper, risk-taking, crazy lifestyle maniacs. And look, I'm not saying that doesn't exist anywhere, but in my experience, coaching world-class traders, it's exactly the opposite. They're far more interested in talking about their Whoop data than the hottest nightlife spots. They don't take drugs, but plenty take supplements. Many have cut out alcohol completely. And it makes total sense. Imagine an athlete who drank every weekend and slept badly. Could he do okay on raw talent? Maybe. Could he be world class? Absolutely not. Trading long hours at the highest level is an endurance sport for the brain, and the top traders treat their bodies accordingly. Recently, there have been some crazy opportunities in the market. Many of my clients have been putting in the longest hours of their career. They've been sleeping 5 hours a night, working 14 hours a day, barely seeing their kids Monday to Friday. It's been a huge sacrifice in their health and their relationships. But it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to make life-changing money. The ones who have put work in have been rewarded massively. And here's what stood out to me. Not one of my top-performing clients ever told me that their wives or girlfriends made them feel guilty or bad about working these crazy hours. Their partners understood that in the moment, their job was to support them through the hardest professional stretch of their lives. If you don't have a partner who backs you fully, who's okay with the long hours and the cancelled dinner plans when something big is on the horizon, getting to that elite level just isn't likely to happen. The traders who make the most money are the ones who don't let short-term variance touch them. This is hard when you're starting out. The elation of a big up day, the misery of a down day, it's a roller coaster. The cheat code the top traders use is simple. They zoom out. What does this mean for my month, my year, the rest of my career? Does this actually change anything? Or is it just a stumbling block? Instead of getting emotional about the day that went against you, ask, what's the lesson? How do I bank this learning so I'm better prepared next time? When you hold that long-term view, mistakes stop being week ruiners and become 1% improvements. Some of my clients genuinely find them exciting. That reframe is a superpower. Most traders go in knowing it's hard. Very few go in prepared for how it's hard. I call this mindset problem negotiating with success. You tell yourself that you'll keep going for at least 6 months, or you keep going until you've lost 10k, and then you'll quit. All you're doing is building yourself exit doors, more and more ways to fail at this. The top traders think completely differently. To them, trading is simply a set of skills. If you keep practicing, you will get better, and eventually you will succeed. Look at successful entrepreneurs. A year or two in, most of them weren't doing well, and certainly weren't millionaires. It takes years to truly figure out what you're doing. But if you keep getting 1% better every week, and you refuse to quit, isn't success basically inevitable? That's how they see it. Defeat isn't an outcome they negotiate with, so it stops being an option. And here's one that surprises almost everyone. Every highly successful trader I coach has a reason way beyond the money, something that pushes them onward. For some, it's love of the game, the drive to see how good they can get. For others, it's competition, wanting better results than the next guy. For others, it's family, providing a better life for their kids. There's no right or wrong here. But when you're deep in a drawdown, putting in a 70-hour work week, prepping on a Sunday night for the week ahead, you need a clear why to hold on to. Because here's the truth. Once you're making over £2 million a year, more money isn't really what moves the needle anymore. The why is what keeps them at the top. Now you have the laws, it's time to learn exactly how 7-figure traders actually manage the day. Made a full video breaking it down. Click right here. I'll see you there. Bye.